Chapter 5. The Letter of Advice. "Do you know, Austin," said Villiers as the two friends were pacing sedately along Piccadilly one pleasant morning in May, "do you know I am convinced that what you told me about Paul Street and the Herberts is a mere episode in an extraordinary history. I may as well confess to you that when I asked you about Herbert a few months ago, I had just seen him." "You had seen him? Where?" "He begged of me in the street one night. He was in the most pitiable plight, but I recognized the man, and I got him to tell me his history, or at least the outline of it. In brief, it amounted to this. He had been ruined by his wife." "In what manner?" "He would not tell me. He would only say that she had destroyed him, body and soul. The man is dead now." "And what had become of his wife?" "Ah, that's what I should like to know, and I mean to find her sooner or later. I know a man, named Clark, a dry fellow, in fact, a man of business, but shrewd enough. You understand my meaning, not shrewd in the mere business sense of the word, but a man who really knows something about men and life. Well, I laid the case before him, and he was evidently impressed. He said it needed consideration and asked me to come again in the course of a week. A few days later I received this extraordinary letter." Austin took the envelope, drew out the letter, and it read curiously. It ran as follows. "My dear Villiers, I have thought over the matter on which you consulted me the other night, and my advice to you is this. Throw the portrait into the fire. Blot out the story from your mind. Never give it another thought, Villiers, or you will be sorry. You will think, no doubt, that I am in possession of some secret information, and to a certain extent that is the case. But I only know a little. I am like a traveler who has peered over an abyss and has drawn back in terror. What I know is strange enough and horrible enough, but beyond my knowledge there are depths and horrors more frightful still, more incredible than any tale told of winter nights about the fire. I have resolved, and nothing shall shake that resolve, to explore no whit farther, and if you value your happiness, you will make the same determination. Come and see me by all means, but we will talk on more cheerful topics than this." Austin folded the letter methodically and returned it to Villiers. "It is certainly an extraordinary letter," he said. "What does he mean by the portrait?" "Ah, I forgot to tell you. I have been to Paul Street and have made a discovery." Villiers told his story as he had told it to Clark, and Austin listened in silence. He seemed puzzled. "How very curious that you should experience such an unpleasant sensation in that room," he said at length. "I hardly gathered that it was a mere matter of the imagination, a feeling of repulsion, in short. No, it was more physical than mental. It was as if I were inhaling at every breath some deadly fume, which seemed to penetrate every nerve and bone and sinew of my body. I felt racked from head to foot, and my eyes began to grow dim. It was like the entrance of death." Yes, very strange certainly. You see, your friend confesses that there is some very black story connected with this woman. Did you notice any particular emotion in him when you were telling your tale?" "Yes, I did. He became very faint, but he assured me that it was a mere passing attack which he was subject." "Did you believe him?" "I did at the time, but I don't now. He heard what I had to say with a good deal of indifference, till I showed him the portrait. It was then that he was seized with the attack of which I spoke. He looked ghastly, I assure you." "Then he must have seen the woman before. But there might be another explanation. It may have been the name, and not the face, which was familiar to him. What do you think?" "I couldn't say. To the best of my belief, it was after turning the portrait in his hands that he nearly dropped from the chair. The name, you know, was written on the back." "Quite so. After all, it is impossible to come to any resolution in a case like this. I hate melodrama, and nothing strikes me as more commonplace and tedious than the ordinary ghost story of commerce. But really, Villiers, it looks as if there was something very queer at the bottom of this." The two men had, without noticing, turned up Ashley Street, leading northward from Piccadilly. It was a long street, and rather a gloomy one, but here and there a brighter taste had illuminated the dark houses with flowers and gay curtains and a cheerful paint on the doors. Villiers glanced up as Austin stopped speaking, and looked at one of the houses. Geraniums, red and white, drooped from every sill, and daffodil-colored curtains were draped back from each window. "It looks cheerful, doesn't it?" he said. "Yes, and the inside is still more cheery. One of the pleasantest houses of the season, so I have heard. I haven't been there myself, but I've met several men who have, and they tell me it's uncommonly jovial." "Whose house is it?" "A Mrs. Beaumont's." "And who is she?" "I couldn't tell you. I have heard that she comes from South America, but after all, who she is of little consequence. She is a very wealthy woman, there is no doubt of that, and some of the best people have taken her up. I hear she has some wonderful claret, really marvelous wine, which must have cost a fabulous sum. Lord Argentine was telling me about it. He was there last Sunday evening. He assures me that he has never tasted such a wine, and Argentine, as you know, is an expert. By the way, that reminds me, she must be an oddish sort of woman, this Mrs. Beaumont. Argentine asked her how old the wine was, and what do you think she said? About 1,000 years, I believe. Lord Argentine thought she was chaffing him, you know, but when he laughed, she said she was speaking quite seriously and offered to show him the jar. Of course, he couldn't say anything more after that, but it seems rather antiquated for a beverage, doesn't it? Why, here we are at my rooms. Come in, won't you? Thanks, I think I will. I haven't seen the curiosity shop for a while. It was a room furnished richly, yet oddly, where every jar and bookcase and table, and every rug and jar and ornament seemed to be a thing apart, preserving each its own individuality. Anything fresh lately? Said Villiers after a while. No, I think not. You saw those queer jugs, didn't you? I thought so. I don't think I've come across anything for the last few weeks. Austin glanced around the room from cupboard to cupboard, from shelf to shelf in search of some new oddity. His eyes fell at last on an odd chest, pleasantly and quaintly carved, which stood in a dark corner of the room. Ah, he said, I was forgetting. I have got something to show you. Austin unlocked the chest, drew out a thick quarto volume, laid it on the table, and resumed the cigar he had put down. Did you know Arthur Machen, the painter, Villiers? A little. I met him 2 or 3 times at the house of a friend of mine. What has become of him? I haven't heard his name mentioned for some time. He's dead. You don't say so! Quite young, wasn't he? Yes, only 30 when he died. What did he die of? I don't know. He was an intimate friend of mine, and a thoroughly good fellow. He used to come here and talk to me for hours, and he was one of the best talkers I've met. He could even talk about painting, and that's more than can be said of most painters. About 18 months ago, he was feeling rather overworked, and partly at my suggestion, he went off on a sort of roving expedition, with no very definite end or aim about it. I believe New York was to be his first port, but I never heard from him. 3 months ago I got this book, with a very civil letter from an English doctor practicing at Buenos Aires, stating that he had tended the late Mr. Machen during his illness, and that the deceased had expressed an earnest wish that the enclosed package should be sent to me after his death. That was all. And haven't you written for further particulars? I have been thinking of doing so. You would advise me to write to the doctor? Certainly. And what about the book? It was sealed up when I got it. I don't think the doctor had seen it. It is something very rare? Machen was a collector, perhaps? No, I think not. Hardly a collector. Now, what do you think of these Ainu jugs? They are peculiar, but I like them. But aren't you going to show me poor Machen's legacy? Yes, to be sure. The fact is, it's rather a peculiar sort of thing, and I haven't shown it to anyone. I wouldn't say anything about it if I were you. There it is. Villiers took the book and opened it at haphazard. It isn't a printed volume, then, he said. No, it's a collection of drawings in black and white by my poor friend Machen. Villiers turned to the first page. It was blank. The second bore a brief inscription, which he read, Silet per diem universis, nec sine horror secretus est. Lucet nocturnus ignibus, chorus Egypenum undique personatur, audientur et cantus tibiarum, et tinnitus cymbalarum per orum maritimum. On the third page was a design which made Villiers start and look up at Austin. He was gazing abstractedly out of the window. Villiers turned page after page, absorbed, in spite of himself, in the frightful Walpurgis night of evil, strange, monstrous evil, that the dead artist had set forth in hard black and white. The figures of fauns and satyrs and agipans danced before his eyes, the darkness of the thicket, the dance on the mountaintop, the scenes by lonely shores, and green vineyards by rocks and desert places passed before him, a world before which human soul seemed to shrink back and shudder. Villiers rolled over the remaining pages. He had seen enough, but the picture on the last leaf caught his eye as he almost closed the book. Austin! Well, what is it? Do you know who that is? It was a woman's face, alone on the white page. Know who it is? No, of course not. I do. Who is it? It is Mrs. Herbert. Are you sure? I am perfectly sure of it. Poor Machen! He is one more chapter in her history. But what do you think of the designs? They are frightful. Lock the book up again, Austin. If I were you, I would burn it. It must be a terrible companion, even though it be in a chest. Yes, they are singular drawings, but I wonder what connection there could be between Merrick and Mrs. Herbert, or a link between her and these designs. Who can say? It is possible that the matter may end here, and we shall never know. But in my own opinion, this Helen Vaughn or Mrs. Herbert is only the beginning. She will come back to London, Austin. Depend on it. She will come back, and we shall hear more about her then. I doubt it will be very pleasant news. This is getting crazier and crazier. I can't imagine what comes next. I hope you are enjoying this story as much as I am. Thank you for listening, and if you have not already, please consider clicking the subscribe button to hear more stories. Until next time, safe travels!